but I took the day after the concert off just because I'm old, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to Blossom before, but God
man.
help you getting out of that place.
I gotta take a week off for a concert. I don't do concerts anymore. My brother is all into music and stuff, and he's constantly like, "Hey, do you want to go to this concert with me?" I feel so bad turning him down, but I'm like, man, I just don't do concerts, man. I just don't. There's too many people. It's too loud. I know that makes me sound like the guy who's like, I don't like ice cream because it's too cold. But like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. You know what? You bring me a nice DVD of a concert. I'll watch it with you. I'll really enjoy it. I have my pajamas on the whole time. But I just can't actually go to concerts anymore. I'm just too old for this shit. I'm pulling a full Murtaugh.
It's funny because, like, I love the whole going to the concert, getting there, getting set up, listening to the opening acts, the show itself, and the second that encore is done, I immediately hate everything because then you have to,
get the fuck out of
especially
there.
with Blossom, because you have to walk all the way. It's like a mile, and then you have to worry about getting out of the place. I already told Kayla, like, I'm going to be pre-planning this. I'm going to be bringing a small cooler that's going to have energy drinks with ice in it that I will be leaving in the car for when we get back to the car, because God, it's going to be so long, and then we still have to drive all the fuck way back here. So
I feel you. All right, well, let's get into this then, man. Going in 3, 2, 1.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. You, dear listener, for whatever reason, have decided to tune into another Horrible Gaming Podcast. I'm not alone. Usually I'm never alone. With me is...
Neil, a.k.a. a tiny wizard.
Yeah, doing it up.
Trying to not burp directly into the microphone.
I burped so much in the microphone. No, I just did it. Thank you. You passed it to me. Quantity, not quality, and not even quantity anymore. I don't know why anybody's watching anything on this channel.
It just is. We just are.
It just is. That's our new slogan. It's just
of the seasons.
Old Man Game
will venture into their basement to record an audio and sometimes slightly visual format podcast for approximately 10 maybe people to watch weekly.
The new shirt is going to be Old Man Gaming, and it's just going to be a shrug emoji. It's like, no. What are you doing here? All right. We're going to get into it today. We're just going to talk about some fun stuff about video games. I think we've got a little bit of news. At least I have one news story. And then, we're just going to have a fun little show. And we're getting 2 in a row finally, so that's nice.
It's funny you say that, because I'm like, wow, there's going to be some people who are like, they're fucking back, dude. 2 weeks in a row? Holy shit.
The next week we're off. They're like, damn it, back to nothing. So we are going to, before we get into all that, we're going to thank the people who make it possible. Behind our ugly mugs is a custom graphic. It's provided by Mr. Mark Bell. We thank him for that. And then, of course, the theme song for this show and all of the shows here at Old Man Gaming is provided by the man who makes the music, my brother Nick Van Siders. We thank him for that. We'll be right back with fan interaction.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to our first segment, our most important segment. That's fan interaction. That's where we, the co-hosts, we talk to you guys, the fans. We read out all your comments. We riff about them. We talk about them. We only got 2 this week, and that's completely fine. But we're going to talk about them. Right off the bat, hi, exclamation point from William Hohen. I definitely commented on last episode telling you about my vacation in Maine. Went to look and yep, was removed. Man, I don't know why they do that to you, Will. I really don't know why they do that to you. I know you don't even swear in your shit, so I have no idea why every once in a while they just remove your post, man. I'm very sorry. But continuing with his comment. The short version is it was fun. Read some Stephen King's books and played pinball. Neil, how would you have felt if the internet guy told you, are you the Neil from Old Man Gaming?
I would have shit an entire brick.
I've never been recognized. Never.
Every single time somebody who is like unfamiliar with me or anything comes down and sees my computer and set up down here, the first is like, oh, so what do you stream? What do you do? What do you play? And I'm like, you will be very thoroughly disappointed with my answer. Like,
yeah.
Like, to put it all into context, I have my custom built PC down here. I got RGB and everything. You see the microphone. There was a point in time we first started doing this. I bought like 5 fucking microphones because I was like obsessed with like how it sounded and everything.
We have had many non like out of context openings about your microphones.
And like currently the thing that I'm playing on my computer right now is BioShock Infinite. So like
to continue with his post, Zach, I did the same with games. For the longest time, I wanted long games, 100+ hours, and nowadays I'm way more into short arcade experiences. If I can beat the game under 10 hours on a first playthrough, that's amazing to me. Thanks for the show. Hashtag YouTube, please don't delete this. Well, they didn't. They listened to you this time. Maybe that's just the hashtag you have to use every time. Yeah, it's weird. I truly, personally, I truly believe it's something about if you're a long-term gamer, you just like, there's something that doesn't appeal to you at some point in your career. Later, you're going to get sick of the thing that you've been playing for 20 years and want to try the other thing, I think. Because that's how I feel. I think that's kind of how Neil has experienced things too. I think everybody at some point has had that where they're like, because I'm telling you right now, like, first-person shooters were a big thing for me. I can't think of a game type that I want to play less than a first-person shooter. Like, the minute I see first-person shooter, I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Like, I'm so done with them as a genre, So I think it's just something to that,
Yeah, I think for me, like, I used to really care that, if a game had a multiplayer component. That was always the thing for me, and like especially like split screen couch co-op, something like that even mattered so much to me. I think when we play is literally the only time I do anything multiplayer. In fact, I jumped on to it was Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on my computer one day and forgot to turn off fight requests. So I'm just like screwing around in an arcade, and then all of a sudden I get the thing about a fight request. I'm like, I don't know, no people, no, ew, get it out of here. Like, I started spazzing.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know, and I'm not against multiplayer experiences either. It's just, I don't know, the things that I loved when I was younger, they're not things that interest me anymore, and I don't necessarily think that's because those things have gotten as a whole worse. I think it's more like I'm into this now because I played enough of that. Like, I'm all topped off. I don't need any more looter shooters in my life ever again, and that, I don't know, that's just how I feel. And then finally, the only other comment we got is this one from Jason. And I'm not going to lie, I know we only posted last week, but I don't quite remember what this would be in relation to, and I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to ask us. But the thing is this. So, Zach, do the Asari, the Turian, the Solarian, the Quarian, or the Krogan, question mark, parentheses, or do you like the Volus? So I'm not sure, because I think maybe there's a word that was missing there or something, Jason, or maybe I said something and you're referring to it and I'm not quite sure. But if you're just asking me what kind of race I like in Mass Effect, because these are all Mass Effect characters, my favorite to watch or to be like, my favorite to be involved with was the Krogan, but I would actually say that if I were to, because you just said, so Zach, do the So I'm wondering if you're asking which one I would want to be. I would want to be a Quarian, probably. A Quarian would probably be the most cool to me. But I think the Krogan are cool from like a viewer standpoint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely love the. I actually was always particular to the Asari.
So was I. I wouldn't mind being a telepathic chick, but like chick race. I just think I like the Asari.
I was gonna say I just think it was like interestingly written, like the species themselves.
So your playthrough? Did you play through all Mass Effects?
I did, yes.
Who'd you romance?
Andromeda.
Oh, I played through Andromeda. Nobody. No romances for Mass Effect. What are you doing with your life, man?
No, if I remember correctly, I got an achievement for not romancing. Yeah, I don't.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I don't normally go down any of the tracks of like pursuing romances in games, with some notable exceptions. I accidentally in Cyberpunk, romanced Panam, and I was like, all right, well, I guess we're here now. Yeah.
Well, you've showed me your bits. I guess I'll show you mine.
It was funny because like I was doing all of her missions and everything, and then there's the part in the one of the missions that you steal a tank, and it says you want to take this thing out for a spin. I'm over here thinking like, yeah, let's go blow some shit up in a tank. No, you do this like weird brain meld thing, and it was like, okay, well, I can't undo it now.
I will say this, that is a big problem with romance in games just in general. They make it way too easily to misunderstand that you are choosing a romance option. Like, and then all of a sudden you're necking with someone, you're like, wait, how did I get here?
The only other one that I think that I'm really pretty firm on is in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. They give you romance options in that. And I've always felt that Cloud and Tifa should have always been together.
And this is why you and I are the bestest of friends. Because Cloud and Tifa should have always been together.
Yes.
Always. Period. All you Aerith bitches out there are wrong. And I don't even like that game. Tifa for life. Okay, I do want to say this, because he might be asking, like, who I romanced in the game. And I'm going to say this. I've played through Mass Effect, the trilogy, as a whole twice. Once as a fella, once as a madam. The first time I played through, I had a little bit of an up and down. I romanced the Asari in the first game, but then she wasn't in the second game. But Jack was, and Jack is hot as shit. So my character ended up kind of going after Jack. And then the DLC for the second game, the Asari comes back in, and the whole Jack thing got really weird for me, because I was like, this isn't what I wanted. And then, so I ended up getting back with the Asari, and then staying with the Asari through the third one. When I was playing the lady, there was one guy for me, and that's Garrus. One and one guy alone. I was all about that Garrus, that Taurian, all the way. My girl was into Garrus, and Garrus was into my girl, and that was that. So those are the two romance options that I played through in Mass Effect. In Andromeda, I don't remember who I had romance in Andromeda. That hurts. I played that twice too. I don't know.
I would like to forget that Andromeda.
I liked Andromeda. I liked it. Oh, I'm so hard on it.
I will say I have not played it since they implemented all of the updates and everything that they did, because I played it basically right at launch.
Here's the thing.
I remember it.
Yeah. Right at launch was rough. There was a lot of bugs and stuff, and I think also I'm very good at seeing the gem inside the coal.
Very rough.
Yeah, I am. And it gave me so much stuff that I wanted from the game, but I definitely see why people had problems with it. Like, I mean, the big issue, which I completely agree with, is you go to this whole new galaxy. Our galaxy in the game has, like hundreds of aliens, and then it goes to this other galaxy. There's three? Mm-hmm. Three aliens, and one of them is like a robot thing. It wasn't fun. And, like, that made me upset. But I liked the exploration aspects, and I really liked how they did their character building. Like, and the morality was way better. It sucks that it was in a game that wasn't bad, but you could be neutral, you could be logical, you know what I mean? It wasn't just, I am the worst person that has ever existed, or I am the best person that has ever existed. And
do you get like a little bit of context? Because it was like four different. Yeah.
Yeah, there was 4 different. It was like super logical, super emotional, super like violent, super something else. And like your things would change based on how you moved within those, and it didn't necessarily mean that like you got a bad end. You know what I mean? You could make choices that were yours. Like, it was the biggest problem I had with Mass Effect was I always felt like I had to commit to being one thing or the other if I wanted the game to feel the right way. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't really be neutral in Mass Effect. You couldn't make a decision, because there was definitely times where if I'm playing myself, I'm doing mostly good things, but every once in a while I'm going to throw a reporter off a roof. You know what I mean? Like, and you couldn't do that. You couldn't like swing back. You had to just stay one, and I hated that. Whereas Andromeda did that really well. They just did a whole lot of other stuff really bad, and I get that. All right. So that's it for Fantraction. We are going to have a fun talking point about things you do in games that you don't actually have to. And you're probably wondering what that is, but we'll get into it and then you'll figure it out. And we'll want to hear from you guys in the comments on it. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our talking point. Things we do in video games that we don't really have to. I know I have a really good one. Neil has one. Let's talk about them. This is a fun conversation. We're just going to chat about this. Neil, go ahead and give them yours so that we can, or one of your first ones, so that we can start this thing off and they can understand what we're talking about.
So basically, it's stuff that you do while you are playing a game that actually does not do anything, but you in your mind feel like it does something, or like a habit that you have. Some of these are going to probably walk the line on that. But like as an example, the one that I gave to Zach when I suggested this, when I would play Pokemon back in the day, whenever you go and throw the ball, it'll bounce a couple times. What I would do is I would pretend like it's a rhythm game, and I would press and hold the B button every time it went to do it, because I thought in my mind that helped it be caught. Not the fact that it was like a percentage chance, basically, based on damage and other effects.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that stuff. Mine was going to be a little bit more meta, which is the lean, man. The lean in racing games.
Yeah.
If I don't lean, my car doesn't turn. Like, it's just like if I'm playing anything with a car, I'm like, back and forth. Like, the same with like when I was younger. I don't do this anymore, but when I was younger, if I was like really into a game and I had to make a jump, I would like hop in my seat every time I jumped, you know? And that was like, you did that or your character fell. There was just no other way around it. And like, I remember like my brother was big on this. My parents would be like, what are you doing? That has no effect on the game. And like, my brother would be like, no, this is how it works. And he would just sit there like jumping in his seat and moving back and forth. And yeah, it was ridiculous. I did the same thing though.
Yeah, my sister would do something kind of like that. She would, when she goes to hit like a jump button, she would just, with the whole controller in her hand.
Yes.
Like, you had to do it that way. I do think what's crazy, though, is the thing that you're talking about, the lean. If you ever played, like, Mario Kart for the Wii, because that's how you steered, is by turning the Wii remote.
Yeah.
Maybe you would love or maybe you would hate that. I know I couldn't stand that.
I owned a Wii for some time. And I did like how they put that in there, but let's face it, as much as people like to romanticize the Wii, that motion controller was not that great.
No.
I'm sorry, it just wasn't. So like you'd be like, I'd be like sitting on the ground and my guy's still not turning the way I want him to, and it'd be like, well, if you want a sharp turn it like that. But if you want a light turn it like that. And I'm like, that's the same turn. Well, what is it? And sometimes you would skid, sometimes you wouldn't. Yeah, man. Those controls rough. Although I did find it funny. The first thing I thought when I saw that is I was like, they have video gameized the lean. That's what they did. They took, they knew everybody out there who was playing a racing game was doing the lean, and now they put it into a. And now you just lean. You lean to make it work. You know.
Yeah, I actually one kind of to that with motion controls. I remember playing through Metroid Other M, and when you go to just will your health and everything back to you, which the weirdest system ever in a game, but what you're supposed to do is hold the button and hold the Wiimote straight up.
Okay.
I felt like you couldn't do it unless I would actually have to brace my other arm, like I was actually holding the cannon for some reason. Yeah, that. Let me see here.
I have a lot of stuff in like fighting games where like you'll hit like one of those infinite combo attacks, and I think I have to hit the button with each attack, and it takes me like 17 times of using it that I'm like, oh, if I just hit the button, it just happens. Like I don't have to just sit here and tap it a bunch of times. Like I'm gonna hit him 16 times, you know, like that was one that's always.
I still in RPG games, how like they have in the Paper Mario games, how if you time your button presses right, you'll do like extra damage. All turn-based RPGs, still to this day, even when I was playing through Clair Obscur, when I go to do a normal attack, which doesn't have any sort of combo prompt with it, unlike some of your other moves, I would literally just hit the A button at the same time. And actually, because I bring up Clair Obscur, there's another one that I had actually started doing. I realized when I was playing that. So it has the counter system in it. So for the counter system, you know, if you parry a single attack, then you go right back. But if it's also a combo, like if the enemy hits you with like a 5, 6, 8, there's like 10 hit combos. If you parry every single one of that, then you'll also counter back. But what I would do, this is kind of visual, is when I know I hit it, I would go kind of like that to the screen. Like I would actually put the controller down and go like this, like knowing that it was coming back. I don't know why I would do that. It served absolutely no purpose, but I still would do that.
I get it. I'm playing Shinobi Art of Vengeance right now. You guys can check out the review on this channel. And I'm absolutely obsessed with it, but there's a lot of stuff like that. Platformers and like beat 'em ups, like anything with like a lot of button pressing will get me eventually. And there's like there's Shinobi executions in the game where like if you hit somebody so many times, you'll build up this execution bar, and then you hit this quick button combo, and you just dash across the screen and end them and get a bunch of coins and whatever, you know, pure ninja ridiculousness. But like whenever I get a bad guy, like the main bad guy, because every one of the bosses you get to execute if you hit the button at the right time, like you get that execution bar. I will always do this, right? Like I'll hit the button like boom boom, and then I'll go wah like that into my screen every time. Like I have just like executed them. Like if I like every time I do it.
I would, for a while, anytime you would do like, I don't know if it has an actual name, but like in a fighting game, if you do like what would be considered the Shoryuken input, so forward, down, diagonal, and a button press, basically. I was convinced that it was better to actually just double tap down diagonal. Even though technically what was happening was me doing that was still barely putting the inputs in, because I would watch it happen in the actual like training inputs there. Yeah. I was convinced that was like I had unlocked some secret that nobody knew. Like This is how you win tournaments. This is how the pros do it. They don't put the whole input in. They only do 2 instead of 3.
I talk to my games. Do you talk to your games? I talk to my games. Like if I'm playing a role-playing game and somebody's talking to me, I just talk as if I am in the game and talking to them. I will do it constantly. I don't know if I'm outing myself as a crazy person at this point, but like they'll say something to me and then I'll just be like, what are you fucking talking about? And then I'll sit there and I'm like, oh wait, no, I've got to select an option. I'm not actually talking to these people.
Yeah, when it comes to that, sometimes I'll get like really into a story to where like if it's like a climax fight or something like that and you finish it, I'll like put the controller down, like not just like on my lap, like I'll set it off to the side and just like sit here and take in, like arms crossed, like completely just like absorbing, like, so dude, what does this mean? Like
I used to do that. Okay, I used to do that. And then I played my first game with QuickTime in it. And now I just sit there on the controller waiting for it to surprise me with like a button prompt or I die sort of thing, you know?
That's always the thing that I hated about QuickTime events is like like especially God of War was the one that pissed me off the most.
Oh,
because they look so cool, but you can't watch them.
Because you got to watch for that button prompt.
You're just staring at the screen for the button prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. It's one of my biggest problems with like the Telltale games, because when I used to play, one of my favorite Telltale games is the Batman one. Just the first one. I never played the second one, but the first one, all 5, whatever. It has some of the best choreographed fight scenes in video games. Like they're just start to finish cool ass fights, right? Mm-hmm. But like you have to watch for these button prompts the whole time, and it takes it away. It's really hard to like just watch the fight scene, you know? Let me think. Oh, I got one for you. In a game, if there is a camping or a resting mechanic, right? I have to do that before I save and stop. Like, even though the game you can save at any time, you can just go into a menu and hit save. Yeah. I have to find a place where like my party would be sleeping, so that in my head I could just pretend they're asleep until I come back to play with them again, which is really weird. It's totally crazy. But like Baldur's Gate, you could save that game at any time.
Any point. Mm-hmm.
But I have to be at a camp to save. That's where I have to be, because I want to start back up from the camp every time. Like every time. And that's craziness. I think like the same with Avowed had a camping system, and Avowed's camping system does not matter. You go there to upgrade some weapons sometimes and to get conversations with your companions. Otherwise, you never need to camp in that game. It doesn't even really have to be there. I have to go to the camp. I have to end the game at the camp. I have to take a siesta.
See, it's weird because like I kind of do the same thing, but one step differently changes the whole reason for it. So I'll do the same thing whenever, you know, we go, like when we're playing Baldur's Gate. Well, that's what we'll do is we'll go through, we'll save at the camp, or we'll do resting, whatever, at the camp, and then we will leave the camp and then save. I do it that way, so that way I remember what it is that we're doing.
Nice. I get that. Mine is much more craziness. It's the same with Grounded. Grounded, you can save at any time, and when you go back in, you'll just be where you were when you saved. That's how that game works. But after I've built a house, I have to get back to my house, and I have to offload all my shit before I save and quit. There have been a couple of times where I've been like against time, and I'm like, I gotta get back to work. I gotta save now. And it literally bothers me until I get home from work. Like that, like I'm just saved in a field. It drives me nuts. And like often when I do that, because usually once school's in session, most of my gaming happens between the first and second shift, if at all. Like that's when I play. I don't really play at night because I have to sleep. But like like if I go to work, like, but I have to leave to go back to work at about 1:30. So like it'll be like 1:25 and I'm like, I'm not gonna make it back to the house. So I'll save and I'll leave, and it'll be in the back of my head like, they're just standing in a field. They're just standing in a field, man. You gotta get back there. I will get home and I'll just run in, turn on Grounded, run my character to the house, offload my stuff, save, and be done. Because then I'll go up and like shower and cook and everything. But like I can't. It drives me nuts.
Whenever I play a Sonic game,
ooh, okay.
Whenever you do a spin dash,
okay,
I have to get it charged up to where it is the sound doesn't go up any higher.
Yep.
Even though you're basically already there on like 2 to 3 button presses, I got to get it like 6 or 7 times.
You got to hit it as many times. Yep. And you want to know why? Because if you hit it once, you'll never make it up whatever the thing you're trying to get it up for. And for the record, Sonic people, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, just make me hit it once. Why do I have to hit it 42 times or 2? Like that's it. Just let me hit it once. I don't understand. Especially a game about speed. They make you sit there and like, okay, at this point, you've got to stop, stay in one place, spin for a second, and then run up. I'm like, come on, man. Just let me hit the button real quick so I can fly, you know?
Right.
You imagine how cool that game would be if at any point in the game you just press down an A and charged up a spin dash full force?
I think that would make it... I think it would add an entirely different dimension to the game, honestly.
Modders, get on that shit. I want that in the next 2D Sonic. Must have.
I know I am a serial saver. I wouldn't necessarily 100% group this into something, but I know like I will see the save icon happen in a game.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Go through like Claire Obscure did this a lot actually. I'll see the save icon, and then I'll go back. I'll go into camp. I'll walk up to camp and do like my specs of like points and everything like that. I'll see another save icon, seeing that it's saved. But before I shut the game off, even though I've already saved twice in the span of like 3 minutes, I have to go through and do a manual save just to make sure.
Completely understand. And I'm going to say this. Any gamer that's over the age of like 35 does this too. Mm-hmm. We don't believe you, game. We do not believe you. Grounded 2 auto-saves when you super quit out of the game. So when you hit the button to super quit, like end the session, not only does it save, but it literally will bring up a message that says, hey, just so you know, now that you're quitting, we are going to create a save where you are right now so your progress is not lost. And then it'll say an okay, and you have to hit A one more time, and it quits out. And you know what I do before I ever super quit anyway? I manually save that fucking game. Yep. I don't care. I don't believe you. If I'm not pressing the save button, I don't believe anyone is.
Yeah, there's been times where I like know for a fact that I've saved, and I know like I've lost. There was one time I was playing, I think it was Kingdom Hearts 2, years and years ago. And I was playing for like 6 hours straight. Like I got through one of the entire worlds and like could have swore that I saved. And I knew for a fact that I saved. But like apparently I didn't. Or even worse, if you're playing a game and you're at a point that you have to find an actual save point, but you have shit you have to do. I remember leaving the PlayStation on, and then like something crazy would happen, like a power outage or something like that, and then it's just gone.
Gone. I remember when I was very young, and we would rent games from a store for our Nintendo. Me and my brother decided we were going to beat Rampage, the original Rampage for Nintendo, right? That game has something like 150 levels because like every county on the planet you have to like run through. It is another level, you know, that you have to destroy. There's no save in that game at all. So we rented it on a Friday, and we did not turn off the Nintendo until we beat it on Sunday when we had to take the game back. And I remember our reward was it just said, congratulations. And that was it. But, like, yeah, we would just like, oh, we've got to go somewhere. Don't touch the Nintendo. It's on. We turn the TV off, and we walk away from it. And hopefully it's going when we come back. Shoot, there was something else I wanted to say. Now I forgot it. I lost it. Train hit the mountain. And I still have that happen to me. Just for the record. So everybody out there, we have a show on this channel, if you don't know, called OMGM, which is Old Man General Manager. It's myself and this guy, Grandpa Gamer. We book against each other in the GM mode on 2K25. Wrestling stuff, right? So, like, he has a brand, I have a brand. We draft wrestlers and try to make better shows than each other. So, here's the thing about that game, right? It autosaves. There's no way to manually save it, period, right? But for whatever reason, they're not really clear on when it's saving. So, we actually had this happen to us at the end of our last season, which, just for you guys out there, the season we just finished recording, the finale is on Christmas. So that's how far off the actual show is. But, like, the way it works is the minute you finish a season, right? Like, you finish WrestleMania, you find out who won, then there's this stats, a couple of stats pages, like, about your wrestlers and your brand and how you did, and there's, like, some Slammy awards. And then it goes to the next year, and you get to keep certain amount of wrestlers for your brand, depending on where you placed in the standings, and then all the other wrestlers go back into the draft, and you have to redraft. You redraft for the next season, right? You following me so far, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we this last season, because they just added this feature into 2K25. This is the first time we played with it. They put a timer, like an actual timer, on, like, you can put a timer in for how long it takes you to book your show. And if you don't book your show by the end of that timer, you get a penalty to the fans that you get at the end of the show, which me and Jeremy decided to implement that, Jeremy being Grandpa Gamer. We decided to implement that. It's an 8-minute timer because we also figured out that from the, like, placing screen, like when it tells you the brand's places, you can actually hit a button. It brings up this, like, extra menu, and you can quit from there. Okay? So we had never done that before. But again, you can't quit out after you finish WrestleMania. You have to do the keeper stuff. You then have to go into the draft. That's how we had always thought it was, right? That's just the way it is. And then once the draft is done, it goes into the first-person show. But we can't start the first-person show because it's a timer. So we get through the whole draft. We go. I know this is a long story. Bear with me, guys. Payoff's coming. We get to the first show, and then we're about to hit the button to go into the show. But we don't want to do that because we want people to be able to see, because the way the show works is you get an email section that once you skip out of the email section, you're actually in the drafting, but it's all counted as the same counter, and you can't go back to the emails once you're in the actual booking part of the show. So we get to this part, we finish the draft, we quit out. We do the special way. We hit the button, we bring up the menu, we quit out, right? So we're done with the draft. Everything's done. He leaves. As he's leaving, he's like, I can't remember what he says to me, but he wanted to know something about one of the wrestlers that he had brought up. And I was like, well, I can always check for you. So I go back in to check. Guess what? It saves you right before the draft begins. So we have to do the whole draft again. It took us 30 minutes to do that draft. All of them are gone. So now we have to, like, when we come back to do it, we're going to have to watch the recording we made of us doing the draft and then try to do the same draft again.
Oh, jeez.
But the computers are probably going to pick, because we play with one computer opponent, probably going to pick different characters. So it's going to be completely fucked. So yeah, so we have to completely do the draft over. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the kind of stuff that burns you. Like, if I had a manual save, I'd hit the manual save, and that's where we'd be, and I know that's where we pick up. But it's not. You don't know where that autosave hits you, you know?
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of autosaves. At least in that you usually don't know when they're going to autosave, especially games where it's just like completely random.
Yeah.
Or having to find save points, I feel like is a dated, antiquated thing. You know, it prevents stuff like save scumming, but honestly, who cares? I'm a save scummer. I've always been a save scummer. I don't even care. In fact, back in the days of ROMs and stuff like that, when I definitely played those all the time, I would make save states, like playing Donkey Kong or whatever, on specific parts.
Yeah.
So much so that I remember Castlevania, Super Castlevania, I got through the majority of that game by save scumming. I would just save when I got into an area, and then whenever I got to a point that I couldn't get to before, I would just do another save state. So that way, if I died or something, I just load that right back up. But, you know, it is what it is with that.
You know, I know this has kind of become weirdly about save points, but like one thing that I do like in games nowadays is when they tell you the amount of time it has been since you have last saved. So No Man's Sky doesn't have a manual save option. It's you save every time you like get out of your ship, like whenever you get out of your ship. So if you run your ship, you get in your ship, you get out, you save. But when you go to quit, it will say like you saved, the last time this game was saved was 30 seconds ago or 20 minutes ago or whatever. And like, I love that. Because then I can go, okay, it was 30 seconds ago. Safe. We're good. You're right. I'm safe. Yeah, I love that. I wish more things had it. I don't know. Do you have any more, or should we go to news?
I got one more.
All right, hit me.
I got one more. It's actually something that's impeding me from playing Donkey Kong Bonanza to some degree. Is anything that has a destructible component to it, like breaking a wall to get through, like maybe you only need a hole. I have to destroy the whole thing. I have to destroy the whole thing. I can't leave some of it missing. And the worst part is with Donkey Kong Bonanza is usually there's like gold and chests and stuff hiding randomly. So like I will find myself on a track to find a golden banana or, one of the trials or, a waypoint that I need to get to. But I will also realize that if I come across an area every so often of like, I definitely just need to clear out the rest of the ground because there's probably some gold in here. And I'll like sit there for 10 minutes, like excruciatingly just breaking this thing apart that has no bearing on anything.
Yeah.
No bearing on anything.
Yeah.
But I have to do it. I have to do it that way or it's not done completely.
Yeah, I get that. I completely get that. There's a lot of things like that for me where I've got to clear it all out. If I don't clear it out, it's not good. I tell you, though, there's games that actually give you this weird satisfaction from that. Did you ever play The Gunk?
No, but I know of it.
So The Gunk, for anybody who doesn't know, it kind of came and went. It was a good game, but it was really small. There wasn't a whole lot to it. And basically the idea of it is you land on this planet, you have like a vacuum cleaner, so to speak, and you're cleaning up this like black crude oil type of stuff. And as you do, it kind of like brings nature back for this planet. And like, it's so satisfying. Because like to get through the areas, you're just sucking this stuff up. And it's just like, oh, this is so wonderful. Or even Power Wash Simulator gives you that same, like, the only thing I don't like about Power Wash Simulator is how long it takes you to beat a level. I can't, like, and I know you're supposed to play a little bit, come back, play a little bit, come back, but it's just like, it's like one level is like hours of play. But
much
yeah,
like
that
actual
kind of
pressure washing.
Yes, this is true. I pressure washed my house once. It was a day. Okay, well let's wrap it up there and let's go hit some news. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, be right back with the news.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our final segment. That is the news. That is where Neil likes to collect smaller news stories that don't necessarily deserve a talking point that we just want to riff about, let you guys know about. Neil, take it away. He's got 2. I actually have 1. I'll save my 1 till the end, or do you want me to lead?
Go ahead and lead on that one.
I want to just call out No Man's Sky has done another fucking breathtaking, amazing update to that game. I cannot believe how dedicated they have been to this game, and you can truly see what that kind of dedication can do for a game. And this update is the Voyagers update. They have added, and it's one of the biggest updates today, because they have added, you can build Corvette class ships. So there were freighters, like big freighter bases, like starships that you could own, and then like have like huge ships that you could get on, you could own, you could send them on missions and stuff. And then there was, of course, your like fighter class ships that you piloted, that you could find and build. But now they've added multiplayer Corvette ships. What this is you have to find the modules out in space, but then you build your own ship, kind of a la Starfield. And then inside that, and that's right, they're doing Starfield better than Starfield did. Once you build this ship, you can design it and then walk around in it freely, which has never happened. Like, you could do that in the big base ships, but their design was very, like, every one of them is designed the same. Whereas this one, you can kind of customize that interior thing. And you can actually have your multiplayer characters get in. Other people can get in and pilot your gun stations and walk around the ship. They can sleep. They can plant stuff there. So you can kind of have a home away from home with these Corvette-style ships. What's even cooler about this, to me, is they added the ability to spacewalk, which has never existed in No Man's Sky. You can just park these Corvette ships in space and just get out and float around space. Like, just float around. There's all sorts of crazy videos right now on No Man's Sky already of, like, people spacewalking into anomalies and stuff like that, floating around on the outside of their ship, just, like, running into asteroids and stuff. It's a huge update. They've also said that the technology in this is going to impact the technology in Light No Fire, which I think is interesting because this is the first mention we've heard of Light No Fire, like official mention of Light No Fire since the original trailer came out, which was last year at the Game Awards, I believe. Or was it the year before at the Game Awards?
The year before?
Because it's supposed to come out this year. I know that was the release window. William Huon says it's delayed till 2026. That was his big prediction. And he might be right, because we haven't seen or heard anything from it other than that. And this mention of it is that the technology in this is being used in Light No Fire. It's just a really cool update. It shows a great dedication to this game, and I just love that they're sticking with it.
Yeah, I do think it is a little bit interesting. Because of when we heard about Light No Fire last, and the fact that they're going back to No Man's Sky still, I do think at this point they've more than made up for the failed launch of No Man's Sky. And I do think it is a little bit interesting that they are kind of focusing more on that than Light No Fire. Mm-hmm. It does kind of make me wonder why that is.
I go back and forth on it. I see what you're saying. But to me, I'm like, are they not focusing on Light No Fire, or were they so burned by talking about No Man's Sky so much up to release and then it not being what they want, that they don't want to do that this time? I think it's also really interesting that he hasn't mentioned Light No Fire until now, and now he brings out Light No Fire, which makes me think that we're at least probably going to get another trailer for the game soon, because why would he even reference it? Right. Or even a potential release for Christmas. That might be too hopeful. William Hoon might be right. It might be coming out. I still feel like a little bit that, and this might just be wishful thinking, that they are extremely afraid of overhyping that game.
Oh, yeah.
And they're extremely afraid of what happened to them the first time happening to them this time. So I don't think we're going to hear much about that game until that game is ready to be here.
Basically ready, yeah.
And I want to use the updates on No Man's Sky as an example, because Voyager's update, like, this is the biggest one of the biggest updates to date, right? Like, Corvette class ships is huge, spacewalking is huge, just the technology involved in that is huge. The only thing leading up to this was Sean Murray posted a wave emoji. Like, and he does this, all he does for these updates is about a week before it comes out, he posts an emoji and lets the internet try and figure out what the fuck that means for the next update, which I think is funny. But if you look back at almost every one of the updates they've done, they don't talk about them till they're here. Voyagers, no one knew what it was until it was already out and in our hands. And then videos come out of, like, this is what you can do in it. This is the technology we're using. You know what I mean? So, like, it leads me to believe that, like, they really got burned because they talked about No Man's Sky too much. Then they rushed it out to appease people. It wasn't what people wanted, and they had to, climb out of that hole, so to speak. And I don't think he wants to put himself in a hole again. My thought process, anyway.
Yeah, I can definitely see that as well. I mean, that very well could be the reason why it is that we haven't heard anything from them about it. I'm guessing, because we haven't heard anything solid in so long, my prediction, at least on that, is we're going to see a trailer at the Game Awards that's going to have a launch window in early 26.
I
don't think
wouldn't,
it's going to make it this year.
I wouldn't necessarily argue with that. I think that both are possible. I think we'll get a trailer before the Game Awards, but that's just me. I think the other thing is, too, I personally have been waiting for that moment where they're like, hey, we're done with No Man's Sky, we're moving on to Light No Fire. And I'm now convinced, I don't know if that's ever going to come. I personally think there is a dedicated team on Light No Fire and a dedicated team on No Man's Sky that are sharing assets and technology. And that is the way it is going to stay in perpetuity for the future. I don't foresee them ever stopping development for No Man's Sky, personally. I think this is going to be just something that they just keep re-upping every so often.
I could see that. I could see that. I know there is something to be said, too, about developers going back to what they find familiar. Just because we're kind of talking about something like this, there's going to be another Stardew Valley update coming through too.
Right.
And dude's still doing stuff for this, even though he already said that the last update was going to be the last one, and he's going to be working on Haunted Chocolatier full time. But he's not, and we really don't know anything about Haunted Chocolatier still, outside of when it was first announced, because he's, granted, he's just one guy, so he's got to do what he's got to do. He's going to take his time, but he's focusing everything still on Stardew Valley, even though it's a very popular game still. But I feel like there is a lot of that nowadays, with just going back to this one game and updating, even though, like, they're working on another project.
I think one of the interesting things is, too, that they haven't even slowed down.
Right.
We're still getting updates once every, 3 or 4 months on that game. And that's what blew my mind. I thought when we heard about Light No Fire, we'd get, at the very least, the update process would slow down, But, they announced Light No Fire, and a month later we had another huge update for No Man's Sky, that brought me back into the game. Again and again, they just keep bringing me back. I think it's really interesting how they're doing this, and I'm very intrigued to see when Light No Fire comes out and how it comes out, and what that means for No Man's Sky. But mine is done. It is your turn.
All right, so I got two of them here. The first one, so I guess Nintendo can't even get developer kits for the Switch 2 in developers' hands. So not even dev kits are going out. It's getting so bad that it's been reported that Nintendo is trying to get devs to focus on the original Switch for development. And if you're able to do some development for the Switch 2, great, that's cool. But because the Switch 2 does the backwards compatibility, just, make sure it's backwards compatible and it'll be fine. So now we have yet another company that is putting out a new console, can't get anything out for the new console, and is like, no, go ahead and we'll just kind of get this all figured out, so that everybody can play this game. It's another notch in the why did this thing come out when it did. I still have not seen Switch 2s in stores. Anytime I go into like Walmart or something, I do a normal lap around the store, which involves me passing by the electronics section. And every single time, I always look to see what consoles they have there, just to see, what's selling, what's not selling. And I've not seen a Switch 2 on the shelf here again. So I'll be very curious to see what happens come Christmas time. But here we are yet again playing the same thing. It's just a different company.
It's really frustrating too, because that system has two games, like two dedicated games. When you really think about it, it has the Mario Kart game. Well, no, three, because of Kirby Air Riders. But you have the Mario Kart game, the Kirby Kart game, and then Donkey Kong Bonanza. Everything else is a reprint or a remaster or a revamp or something with DLC. Not one other game that has come out for that is native for the Switch 2 or really leverages what the Switch 2 can do. So, it's another one of those things that, God, is it really worth it? You know what I mean? Is it really worth it to have what it is compared to what it can do? And I'm sorry, I've seen Donkey Kong Bonanza. It looks like a fun game, and I am sure it's a fun game. Nothing that it is doing nothing that it's doing makes me feel like it couldn't have been on the Switch 1. And I think that that's a trick, because they keep telling us hey, it's leveraging this and it needed to be this and whatever, but I'm not seeing anything that really speaks to me that we needed the Switch 2 at all, that these games couldn't have just been on the Switch, and I'm definitely having a hard time justifying the price tag that it has on it still to this day, even though you can't buy them.
Yeah, even now compared to the price increases from the OG Switch and the OLED.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was actually reading an article the other day, and it's kind of really true for me right now. It was Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 is the Switch 2's biggest hit right now. And because that's literally what I'm playing right now. I'm almost done with Chapter 3, about to start Chapter 4.
Do you think those couldn't have been on the Switch though?
Oh no, they 100%. They are on the OG Switch, right. And they're also on other platforms too. So that's right now. That's the headline is an indie game is. The third-party indie is what's really, taking over the Switch eShop right now, outside of first-party stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just not a good place to be. At least this time, as compared to the 3DS debacle after they sold them to everybody and then lowered the price after the early adopters got through. It's not going to be like that this time around. It's going to be the opposite. So at least you're getting in on the ground floor, so to speak.
Right.
But it'll remain to be seen what exactly is going to come out for that console in the future.
I think anybody out there who is willing to part with first-party titles needs to come to the realization that PC gaming is better than console gaming at this point. It just is. Like, from a purely financial and, like, hell, an ability to get the thing, thing, it's just better. Even if you are going out and buying a pre-built PC, it is better than a console, for just being able to find one, and even financials. Because I'm sorry, guys, if you bought a pre-built for $800, it would do everything my PC does. My PC is not top of the line. I run all the games, and guess what? You can update that, and it's not going to cost you anywhere near what these consoles are costing at this point. And I think that's something to be said.
Yeah, with PC gaming, I mean, you have especially if you're going to do your own build, you have to have some know-how, and you have to have that initial upfront cost.
Yes.
But, you can give yourself an upgrade path.
Real easy, and they can be very
fine.
cheap. I've had this PC for 6 years. We've had, 2 console generations for a couple of these consoles in that amount of time. And I run everything on this PC. I have had to do one thing to it. One thing. And that thing cost me $124. That's it. So, like, I think there's something to be said about that. And look, if you're going to do it yourself, for the record, there are YouTube videos where you can literally put in what you want to spend on the PC, and there are people who are like, okay, for $500, this is a PC build, and they in the description will give you every piece of equipment that you need, and then that video will show you every step of putting that thing together and starting it. I mean, hell, that's how Phil did it the first time. That's how I did it the first time. So, like, I know that we got a little bit more creative with my daughters. And I'm sure Phil got a little bit more creative with his new one, but like, it's really not as hard as you think it is. And if you really still don't want to mess with that shit, that's fine. Pre-builts are cheaper than they've ever been right now.
Not even just that, too. There are now build services.
Yes.
To where you just pay a builder fee.
Yep.
Effectively. There's a slight markup on some of the components.
Some of them,
course. But, you can either input exactly what you want or just shop from a pre-built selection and say, this is my price range. This is what I want to get.
Yep.
Or, take it down to the exact components, precisely what you want, and you pay the cost of them, going through and just slapping it all together.
Yeah, it's really not that hard. If you're willing to like part with the first party games in a lot of ways. But I mean, the only ones that are being held back are Nintendo. Like everything else, just about everything else you can find on PC. Some of the Sony stuff, obviously, but like overall, most of it is on PC, and you can just get it for way cheaper than you can get. You know,
if you know where to look and you know what you're looking for, you can get the Nintendo stuff on PC too. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mischief. You might find a porpoise that can help you.
So actually, I'm going to just kind of go into, because the second one is semi-related-ish.
Bring it on.
It is actually a bunch of rumors came out about the PlayStation 6, and apparently they are going to be going with a Switch-like design where it is a portable console that can be docked.
There it is.
It is a singularity at this point. Once handheld consoles... The handheld PCs were a thing. The second that really took off and became mainstream, that's it. That's ball game. There's nothing else that you're going to be able to do outside of implanting a hard drive in your brain to where you close your eyes and play the game that you're gonna do. It's just the final end result, the melding of the portable console and like actually like home gaming. It gives you all those options. I'm kind of more surprised that they didn't do this sooner, but I mean, Microsoft's got the Ally,
which doesn't even play native Xbox games. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness with that.
There's a lot of weirdness.
There's a lot of weirdness with all this stuff. I mean, even now, like a sidebar on that, I think we actually talked about this. I can't remember. But when you take a look at the Windows handheld and a Linux handheld. The Linux handheld like curb stomps the Windows handheld because Windows isn't really made for that. It's just kind of being forced in the small package. So, I mean, like, you've got all of these different moving parts when it comes to how you go about doing everything. But
I mean, hell, you can run Game Pass on Steam Deck. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of knowing, you know, what you want to do and how you want to get into that. The thing with those handheld gaming PCs is they're aimed at a very particular audience who kind of already knows about this stuff or is very technically inclined, because you have things like compatibility layers and everything that you may have to run on a Steam Deck to get Game Pass and stuff like that, and vice versa. Like Steam running necessarily on like the first gen Allies and stuff like that. But when you have a first party company like that, like Sony handling that, I mean, they're going to make it very straightforward and very consumer. I think they're looking to do what Nintendo's doing, and we'll really see if Nintendo's purely getting by on that first party stuff, which I'll be honest, at this point, now that handheld PCs are a thing, I mean, it kind of basically solidifies Nintendo's being able to do what they're able to do because of first parties. But we'll see once that all shakes out.
I mean, they've got to have some games. And they don't even have first party games right now. It's all just
right now,
rehashes.
Yeah.
I think it was going to go this way because there's nothing else the consoles can do. When you really look at what a console is right now and what it can do specs wise, there's not a whole lot more they can offer you. Like there really isn't. Like, I mean, even the PC stuff, even the high end PC stuff, you don't need that shit. You don't need that shit. Like, if I'm buying a PC. If I'm building a PC, I'm building with stuff that came out 2 years ago, because you don't need anything more powerful than that. And like, I think that that's something that the console people have to look at. Like, what are you going to offer beyond ray tracing and 120 frames per second, which again isn't even really perceptive to the human eye, the 4K and the 8K. I think that the only avenue left to them is, well, we got to go portable, because that's the only thing we haven't really done. And like, so that's where they go. I mean, I think it's a silly move personally, because again, yes, you're right. It will be much more consumer forward when it comes to like just turning it on and playing it. But there's just so many better handhelds than whatever Sony's going to offer already on the market, with basically the same thing that Sony's going to offer. Like, Sony's going to offer less games. Sony's going to have Sony games, mostly. That's what they're going to put forth first, and then some indie games. But they're not going to, like, it's not going to be like a Steam library, you know? So,
No.
I don't know what they really bring to the table in that area. I mean, we're already watching Nintendo and Nintendo Switch 2. And look, Nintendo Switch 2 sold. I'm not going to argue that it didn't sell, but they don't even have the units to sell them anymore, which is going to be a problem. And I think that still, if you're looking at this from like if you're looking at it like, I've got to have every console, period, you're going to buy it, right? You're going to buy the Switch 2, you're going to buy the Sony one. But if you're just looking at it like, I want to fill a void of a portable gaming system, if you're comparing specs, you're getting a Steam Deck. You know, like, for the price and what it offers, it blows every other handheld out of the water, in my opinion. Like, the ROG Ally and the ROG X are interesting, but they're way more expensive. They don't actually handle native console games, even though it's an Xbox console system, supposedly. It's you have then, like, the even more expensive ones, like the Lenovo one, and then there's another.
Lenovo, yeah, the Legion Go.
The Legion one, yeah.
There's, I believe there is an Alienware one that's in development. I don't think it's necessarily out yet, but yeah, there's some of these things. I mean, they're a grand plus.
Yes.
I think the portable console thing is the best way to go if we're looking for any sort of innovation.
Yeah. It's the only place,
because you have to consider the fact that, like, you know, you look at something like the PS5 Pro. 4K, 120 frames, great. Some of us, a lot of us really, we really only buy TVs on like a 7 to 10 year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
My TV, we've talked about this before. My TV stays my TV until it is dead.
Yeah.
It is a 4K LED, not OLED or anything. It's a 4K and it can do up to 120 frames a second or 120 hertz refresh on it. Now that said, 120 hertz refresh is meeting that frame rate, but sometimes there are things that are animated a little bit quicker than that, or even things on TV that move faster. This year, what I've actually noticed in watching some of the preseason football games, actually, when somebody will throw the ball, you can actually see it, if you watch hard enough, clip across the screen because it's moving too fast for what the screen can recognize. So we come back to that with gaming.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to rush out and buy a brand new TV because I have a new console, because the cost of a TV to do what I need for something like that, or let's say, you know, they want to kick up to 8K, because remember those were on PS5 boxes at one point.
Yep.
If you want to kick up to something like that, I'm not going to spend $1,500 to $2,000 on a new TV every single time a new console comes out. It's just simply not going to happen.
No.
It's the same reason why with a graphics card, I take a look at 1080p.
Yeah.
Maybe 1440. Maybe.
Yeah, you don't need more
no
powerful.
4K. I don't need anything 4K because I'm sitting in front of this screen, and I'm not gonna go out there and buy a 5090 or even a 5080 if I'm being honest.
Right.
You know, even something like that's gonna be too much, knowing full well all I need is RAM, because I have a perfectly fine monitor.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to want to go out there and spend a grand on a monitor that's also going to keep up with this graphics card. Portable console is the way to go at this point. But what that is really going to shake out to be in the long run,
who knows?
I would love to see, given Sony's history with handhelds.
I think it's kind of like we're at a point where like we have reached the tippy top of the growth industry. I mean, look, your eyes have specs too. Your human eyes have specs. They can only do so much. And I think we're at the limit of what that is. Like, I don't think it gets any better than this. So, like, I think that we're at a level where, like, that's the only way to go, and that's why they're pivoting that direction. And then you've got to wonder what's after that, because nothing. You know, so we've grown to the point where we can't grow anymore, you know? So, like, I don't know. But you want to call it there?
Yeah, let's call it.
All right, we're going to do some plugs, and we'll call it a day, guys.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. What are your things that you do that don't actually matter to the game?
I do outside of this, we are doing BG3L3. We did have to end up canceling last week. Not a problem,
that was on me.
honestly.
That was on me, not anybody else. So there'll probably be a little break.
Okay.
Little break in the episodes after the one that came out last week.
I was going to say, but we do have on the books to try again this week.
Yes,
so that we should be good in that regard. I know here at some point, relatively soon-ish, we're going to get back on the horse, too, with Ordo Scriptorum.
Yes.
So we'll be taking a look at that here soon, and then whenever Cosmic Invasion decides to come out. Actually, funny enough, I saw Rita's Rewind is on sale on Steam right now for $25.
Really?
I gotta wait for payday. With that for a minute. Yeah.
I was about to say, I gotta wait for payday on that one. But yeah, I'm definitely down for Cosmic Invasion. Can't wait for that. I think that will be a lot of fun. We need to bring back Streets of Retro for that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are all fun. Ordo will be coming. I'm still working on the storyline for it. Kind of scripting out some stuff, and I again, guys, I'm working again, so I had to slow down my recording schedule when it comes to actual plays, so I can only be recording so many things at a time. Right now I am recording Astral Drive and this other show that's coming out soon called Dual Bastards. When I wrap the season of either one of those, we will then immediately start scheduling Ordo for sometime soon. So you guys will be getting Ordo again in a couple of months. We're not quitting it. I'm hoping Ordo is the first game we actually finish a campaign of. Like a full-blown campaign. And like if I have planned it right, we will be able to do that after the next 2 hunts. 2 hunts. So I think that will be really fun to kind of see if we can do that. If we can actually pull that off. As far as I'm concerned, you guys have the channel. I just did a review on Shinobi, The Art of Vengeance, which is quickly skyrocketed itself to my experience of the year pick. Absolutely amazing game. Anybody who likes platformers should play this game. Neil, you should absolutely play this game, by the way. This is definitely a Neil game. It's a great game. Go out and check it, but check out my review. And then other than that, I've got OMGM. We did just finish the first 4 episodes of BGL 3 coming out. We're about to record some more, so there will be a little break, and then we'll get back into that. As far as the actual plays, we do have a couple of episodes of Astral Drive coming out soon, I believe. I think maybe this Saturday or the Saturday after. And so you guys can check those out on the TTRPG side, and of course you can check out Wizard's Respite. Other than that, you guys can reach us on Discord. Links in the description below. As long as you guys keep watching and listening, we will endeavor to keep making them. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Oh man, the Andromeda thing. I think forever that's gonna follow us around, you and I. Like there's 3 things that you and I always end up coming back to and arguing on. I think like one of them is Andromeda. It is constant. It constantly keeps coming up. And then you're like, I hated it. And I'm like, I loved it every fucking time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's definitely a game that might be worth almost nearly 10 years after it came out or something like that, worth a re-examination. I mean, nowadays, but
there's a problem too with gaming. Well, I don't necessarily think it's a problem, but like well, no, it's a problem. We've talked about it a lot, and that's hype, And I think when you expect a certain thing from something and then it does not deliver on what you're expecting, it's hard to then still see it for what it is. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that, like, I think a lot of people had a problem with Andromeda because Andromeda promised things it didn't really deliver on. But at the same time, I was looking for certain things that I really liked about it. You know what I mean? And I wasn't looking for those. But it's hard. Like, and that's not on us as players. That's kind of on them, that they do that.
Right.